Now, here we see the types of audit opinions. We're specifically honing in on an audit now. And within that audit, you give an opinion. We talked about how you give an opinion, and what are those opinions? Well, you've got a disclaimer of opinion, a qualified opinion, and then an adverse opinion, and an unmodified or unqualified opinion. Now, we'll see, he's got this little chart. It might look a little complex, but we'll talk about what's going on here. First off, the terms unmodified and unqualified are the same thing. We're going to refer to them as the same thing. They just generally, one is used for issuer and one's used for non-issuers. We see that issuers receive unqualified opinions while non-issuers receive unmodified opinions. But whenever throughout the exam, if I say unqualified or unmodified, I mean the same thing. Very rarely will it be a cause for concern or a trick in the exam, but I would definitely know that, make a note of that, just something to take in mind. Now, our purpose is to give an opinion. We say, okay, we're giving an unmodified or unqualified. Now, this might sound bad, just the term unqualified. Oh, you're not qualified. This is actually good. These are good opinions. This is the best grade you can get for your financial statements. Financial statements are materially correct. Now, there may be immaterial errors, like there's $100 of cash missing, but it's a multi-billion-dollar company, so we don't care. There is no issue, or the issue is immaterial, also known as a clean opinion. We can call it a clean opinion. So we do all our work, we do all our testing, and at the end of the day, we say that you have a clean opinion, everything's good. Awesome. Cool. Perfect. Everything's great. Now, the term pervasive, we get into issues here. When we have to disclaim an opinion, which means we just don't give an opinion, or we give a qualified or an adverse opinion, these are where something goes wrong. There's some issue. Now, what are these issues? Going back to this term pervasive. The term pervasive means widespread or throughout the financial statements as a whole. So these two, qualified and adverse, these are the opinions you give when there's a problem, when the financial statements are not materially presented properly. What's the difference between those, however, is that qualified is when there's one issue that's not pervasive, not widespread throughout the financial statements. Adverse is when the problem is so bad that it goes all the way throughout the financial statements. So talking about that in specific, a lot of times, and we will go into this when we get deeper into the course, you'll see another name for a qualified opinion is an except for opinion. So everything looks good. We give the opinion, hey, everything looks good except for this. But the item here, the reason we give it qualified is that it's contained to one item. So for example, it might just be the statement of cash flows that is incorrect, which that in and of itself may not really affect anything else. Or it might just be one material disclosure that's incorrect. So that might not affect anything else. However, if the cash balance is completely misstated and it's a complete mess, well, guess what? Cash appears in a lot of places throughout the financial statements. So that would be material and pervasive. Pervasive, again, meaning it's widespread throughout the entire financial statements. Also, a departure from generally accepted accounting principles following that FASB. If there's a departure there, that would be an adverse opinion. That's the difference between the two quote-unquote bad opinions, as we'll call them. Now, as I said, disclaimer, another term for disclaimer is, well, not term, you can withdraw from the engagement. So you either disclaim an opinion, meaning you don't give an opinion, or you just get out of there. I'll refer to that throughout the course as you get the heck out of there. You just withdraw from the engagement. So we went over this. There's no problem. If there's an audit issue, meaning there's an issue with how you're conducting your audit, you can either give a disclaimer of opinion or qualified, meaning management doesn't let you do your work. They're preventing you from seeing certain documents. They're not letting you talk to people you need to be talking to. That's considered a scope limitation. And in that case, you would disclaim the opinion. If there is an audit issue, so the two issues, there's an issue with how you're conducting your audit, or there's an actual issue with the financial statements. So if there is a material and pervasive issue with how you're able to conduct your audit, you would have a disclaimer of opinion. If there's a material but not pervasive issue with how you're conducting your audit, so you're able to conduct your audit, but let's say they don't let you audit the statement of cash flows, you would give a qualified opinion, or they don't let you audit one particular disclosure. Now, also going to financial statement issues, would be if there's a problem with the actual financial statements, not with how you're conducting your audit. If, as we said, it's maybe just one item that doesn't affect the rest of the financials, you'll give a qualified. And then if there's something just really terrible that affects the whole financials, it's adverse. Now, definitely memorize these. We'll see these a lot more throughout the course, so no worries. I mean, obviously get a jump on them here. I'd memorize all the terminology you see here because you can see a lot of multiple choice, a lot of sims. This is perfect breeding ground for a lot of points to be had on the exam. Now, just reading here, a point from the AI CPA. In the context of misstatements or an inability to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, the term pervasive is used to describe the effects or possible effects on the financial statements of a matter that, in the auditor's judgment, are not confined, so it's widespread, to specific elements, accounts, or items of the financial statements, or if confined, represent or could represent a substantial portion of the financial statements. Now, what does this mean for you going through the exam? Generally, you'll be given pretty clear-cut examples if it's pervasive or not. It's not up to you to really use your judgment as a exam taker. If this is absolutely pervasive, you'll be given examples, and we will see examples such as those. You'll get familiar with them. You're not going to be given these weird examples that you have to use your own personal knowledge for. Just an insight into what you'll be seeing. We got one more slide here on the audit opinions, making sure you got these down. We've also obviously have a whole lesson on audit opinions more towards the end of the course. This is very important, crucially important. You're guaranteed to see this on the exam. I mean, most of what we're going through and all the lessons you're going to see, but if I could emphasize this even further, I would emphasize this for sure. Now here we go. We see them. This is a little more simple, right? Obviously the one I had before had a little bit more going on, but here, just nice, simple 4. We've got unmodified, clean, good opinion, qualified, everything looks good except for something, adverse opinion. In our opinion, the financial statements are an absolute mess. And then here, disclaimer of opinion, we give that if there's a scope limitation, if management says you can't talk to someone, we're not giving you documents, we're not letting you into our office, something like that. Now, unmodified opinion, also known as a clean opinion, financial statements are free from material misstatements. Qualified opinion, there's a material scope limitation, or as we said, there's something except for. Adverse opinion, pervasive issue, significant material misstatements, or they depart from GAAP. GAAP's got rules, you got to follow those rules. If the financial statements don't follow those rules, you're going to have to give an adverse opinion. Hey there, are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material? We'll do it together. Tap into the power of CPA.Examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started, so why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.